So keep on playing with the videos, putting captions on them, and doing as you will.
Well, thank you. I'm going to take you up on that. I have to show my friends because they just don't believe me. We're going to start with the June 22nd, 2000 Awake, specifically the article Manipulation of Information. I'll put the link below so you can read the full article. And it's from the Watchtower on how to protect yourself from the media, how to protect yourself from propaganda, how do you protect yourself from these kind of mind control tactics that are all around us. So here we go. Making generalizations. Another very successful tactic of propaganda is generalization. Generalizations tend to obscure important facts about the real issues in question, and they are frequently used to demean entire groups of people. Name-calling. Name-calling slaps a negative, easy-to-remember label onto a person, a group, or an idea. The name-caller hopes that the label will stick. If people reject the person or the idea on the basis of the negative label instead of weighing the evidence for themselves, the name-caller's strategy has worked. Playing on the emotions. Hatred is a strong emotion exploited by propagandists. Loaded language is particularly effective in triggering it. There seems to be a nearly endless supply of nasty words that promote and exploit hatred toward a particular racial, ethnic, or religious group.
You got apostates out there that hate Jehovah's Witnesses. Some of them used to be Jehovah's Witnesses, and they just like children. When a child gets popped or spanked for something wrong they done, what they do? Do they reach around your neck and hug you and kiss you and say, thank you for giving me that whooping? No. They pout. They stick their lip out. They talk trash. They talk about you.
So I bet you're wondering, where the heck is he getting this? Well, I'll tell you. I have part of the talk, Beware Enemies of the Kingdom, Apostates. I'll also put the link of that below so you can listen to the entire talk. But this is where he's getting it. He is going to repeat what he's heard from the Watchtower propaganda. Here we go.
Yes, some become bitter when they feel that they have been mistreated and begin to murmur and complain. And it is of interest that many who became victims of apostasy got started on that wrong course, not because they disagreed with scriptural principles, but because they didn't like the way they were being treated, as they thought it was inappropriate.
I'm going to tell you what happened. Chances are she probably was attending the meetings and probably was even a Jehovah's Witness. And she did something wrong. They warned her about it, showed the scriptures that what she was doing was wrong. She couldn't give it up. She didn't want to give it up, so she got kicked out. So now she's talking smack.
Yes, some become bitter when they feel that they have been mistreated and begin to murmur and complain. And it is of interest that many who became victims of apostasy got started on that wrong course, not because they disagreed with scriptural principles, but because they didn't like the way they were being treated, as they thought it was inappropriate.
Apostates. These are people who used to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses or either had some affiliation with Jehovah's Witnesses, and they just like children. When they get spanked, they pout, they talk trash, and they are apostates. These are people who used to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses or either had some affiliation with Jehovah's Witnesses, and they just like children. When they get spanked, they pout, they talk trash. These are apostates, and I already been warned about apostates ever since I was a kid. These are apostates, and I already been warned about apostates ever since I was a kid. They've been around, and he's also an apostate. But as far as you apostates, your questions will not be answered, and you can do Coming in on apostates. You know who you're an apostate, okay? And you might want to also look up. Witnesses are already familiar with apostates. I got a best friend. Why? Because he's an apostate. He's regardless of what you antichrist apostates are thinking. And when I say regardless of what you antichrist apostates are thinking. And when I say apostates, these are people that, you know, they calling people names, that don't bother me. That don't bother me. As the kids used to say back in the day, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. You feel me? And then make it.
So I agree with you. Sticks and stones. You know, throw that word around. All it does is show that the propaganda has worked. The mind tricks that they warn you about have worked on you. Yeah. They are controlling your mind. They are controlling your thoughts. I'm also going to put a link to all of his videos down there because I know it looks like that I repeated, his thing. I did not. He has 4 videos where he says almost identically the same thing. And that is another thing that you will see with Jehovah's Witnesses. They only have, so much spectrum that they can talk about. Once you get out of that, they get nervous, because it's like, well, what do I say? If they have to think for themselves, they get nervous. The name caller strategy has worked, but the propaganda has worked. And your mind has been properly conditioned to dismiss us, to write us off, to prejudge us, etc., before we even talk. But there's a very good reason that the Watchtower has to demonize us the way they do, because we know the truth. We know the truth. And since they can no longer control us, because that word holds no power over us, the Watchtower has no power over us, they must control you. They must control the information. And so since they can't shut us up, they have to shut your mind down. And that's what they've done. So anybody who speaks critically of the Watchtower is deemed an apostate, whether they were ever a witness or not, because the propaganda has worked. They have properly shut your mind down in regards to this subject. You've talked a few times about how we do this because we hate the witnesses, and you could not be further from the truth. We do this because we care about the witnesses. Most of our family are witnesses. We love the witnesses. The Watchtower is the issue. I am not an apostate to anybody other than the Watchtower. A bunch of guys. Who cares? I've turned my back on a bunch of guys. Whoop-de-doo. That has nothing to do with Jehovah. But we see clearly how they are manipulating your thought, controlling your mind, limiting your information. They're hurting you. They're hurting you in the name of Jehovah. And that's what we're speaking out against. We're trying to help you. We're trying to help you. And if you would just get that propaganda that they have warned you about, but then at the same time used on you, if you could get that propaganda out from in front of your eyes for just a few minutes, you would see we're really trying to help you. We're on your side. We're against the Watchtower, but we're on your side. But yeah, I just had to be able to show my friends, because they just don't understand how this organization can have such control over somebody. So I wanted to thank you for that. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye.